Okay, you just said that you have to teach. What do you teach?
I teach a course called FM 401. It's Legal and Policy Issues in Family Ministry for Mid-Atlantic Christian University in Elizabeth City.
And what is that?
It is a course, it's a required course for counseling and ministry students, basically regarding public policy considerations, basically public policy programs, and things of that nature that go to the family. And then legal considerations, laws, if you will, that impact and affect families, predominantly locally, because the school's big push is to send local students out into the community, into either into ministry or into social work or something to that effect. So, it's curtailed towards ministry. There is has a lot of Christian emphasis, which the law is. The law is actually rooted in Judeo-Christian principles, regardless of what anybody else thinks. It's the truth. So it's not a hard crossover, and it basically helps students get ready to encounter these things in life.
Excuse me. So I've noticed through the process of this interview that a lot of your motive, per se, morale, or not morale, but motive, incentive to do something is you want to make a change in the world, or you want to make a change in the community. And I believe you elaborated on it a lot earlier. Is the change you want to make the flaws of our judicial system as it is at the moment? Or just how people aren't exactly getting heard?
Well, you're asking me sort of a loaded question there. First of all...
My apologies.
No, that's okay. I'm trying to answer them one at a time. First of all, making a difference in the world is more than just in the judicial system. It's also... one of the things we talked about in law school was, the practice of law, that, on your license you are an attorney and counselor at law. And so some of it is in many ways akin to a ministry, in that you have the opportunity to make a boots on ground, if you will, impression with your clients. You get clients from all walks of life that are experiencing all sorts of different hardships. People come to you with every problem in the book, and what they want from you is answers to every one of those problems. Are we still recording?
Yes, we're still recording.
Just making sure. So they expect you to be able to answer all their questions, solve all their problems, and cure all their ills, which is
difficult.
It's difficult sometimes, and sometimes you can deal with a lot of it. The military prepared me for a lot of that, because you experience a lot of these things over and over, and you see them. You become numb to some of these issues. But as far as making a difference, the first way you can make a difference is in your clients. First of all, by being honest. One of the most misgotten concepts of morality, and especially for Christians, is the whole "judge not lest ye be judged." People say, "Well, you can't judge me. You can't tell me what I'm doing is wrong." Well, I will be the first one to tell you what you're doing is wrong, and I will judge you infinitely for that, because that's what you're paying me to do. Because if I'm not doing my job, because those things will certainly come out. And if I'm not judging you, telling you to fix them, then the judge will judge you and tell you that, guess what? You're wrong.
Yeah.
And they'd rather me do it, and help them fix it. And then you're not a hypocrite, which is the actual, purpose behind that saying in that passage of the Bible. But the point to that is that you have the opportunity to sit down with somebody who is doing really awful things in their life, in some cases, and say, "Listen, the reason you're in this predicament and you're paying me $225 an hour, which is my published rate, is because you have done these things, and you'll continue to pay me this much money if you don't stop it." Well, I have a right to be happy. Yes, you do, but I also have a right to be paid. So
yes,
you want to keep doing what makes you happy, you're going to have to keep paying me, because you're going to continue to have these problems. There's a reason for that. The other issue is not so much correcting the problems in the judicial system. The judicial system in and of itself has created many of the problems. I'm not so much of a proponent of progress as I am a proponent of stopping the perpetual changes in the judicial system. We have a good system. We have the best system in the world. We need to stop trying to become Europe, and this way we don't end up with their problems.
Yes.
So, like I said, it's not so much a matter of changing or progressing the system. It's sort of slowing it down. There's no need to, in some respects, to change things. Sometimes there are things that need to be changed.
What kind of educational requirements does it take to be an attorney?
Well, you have to obviously graduate high school.
Obviously.
Actually, that's not necessarily a requirement. One of our employees at the firm here, who used to be an attorney, he's just our firm manager now.
Mm-hmm.
He actually dropped out and got his GED. Went to TCC and then went to law school. But generally speaking, you graduate high school or get a GED if you can get around that requirement. Some people can. You go to undergrad, so you have to complete a bachelor's degree. Generally, it's 120, 125 credits. You'll have to graduate with at least a 3.0 or better for your undergrad. And then you'll need to take what's called the LSAT, or the Law School Admissions Test, which is kind of a bear. I used to teach that test to test takers. And it's, for the average taker, it's going to take you about 3 months to get ready for it, you know, at least. Some people take more. You'll have to cut about a 150 on that, at least, and then you would start your application process.
Okay.
The other things that people don't realize that actually go into the process is that it's not just a matter so much of having the educational prowess, it's also having the moral background. Whereas a lot of jokes are made about attorneys being immoral, it's not necessarily the case. We're actually held to very high moral standards, meaning that if we get into our own legal trouble, such as criminal things, we have to actually notify the bar, hey, I got charged with something, or hey, I'm being sued for something. We have to, you know, be open and honest about those things. We're required to maintain, you know, an above board or an above average standard of conduct. And now it goes into law school admissions as well. You have to provide copies of any arrest records or any, you know, civil actions. You even have to, I had to provide information on a ticket I got when I was 17.
Very
35.
Very thorough.
Right. So I mean, just as a you know, an idea, you know, you not only have to get through undergrad, and not only that, you have to focus your undergraduate studies in some kind of area that's going to be applicable. Some schools are more picky about that than others. It really doesn't matter what your undergrad is in, provided that the admissions council, you know, sees that you're a good candidate.
Is there anything that you would like to say to our viewers? Anything for them to carry with them through the rest of their high school career or through the rest of their life?
Stay in school, listen to your mom. Do your own thing, don't ever let anybody tell you you can't. The only person that's going to limit you is you.
Is that it?
Don't feed mogwai after midnight. Don't get them wet. And knowing is half the battle.
Like Mr. Miyagi said.
I'm trying to think if there's any other words of wisdom. You know, the only thing that keeps people from being good and being great, the only difference is being ready to take a risk.